put that chapter behind us, it's time for us to get out of the frying pan and into the fire. And I really do mean fire. We are going to Flame Barrel, the Graveyard of the Dragons. You'll find out why it's called that a bit later, but anyway, this chapter gave me a lot more trouble than I thought it would. A lot more trouble. Trust me, you'll see it, yeah. In the next part, you're going to see an extra long special edition of the Fail channel. But anyway, until then, enjoy this really nice looking scene here. You got Zane and Marth up there, who are somehow not burning to death by standing mere meters away from lava. But anyway, yes, we'll be going to a instead of the desert, we're now in a lethal lava land this time. And, yes, this whole, unrequest segment, I really like it because, it takes you through a whole variety of different environments. Okay, so I've got one thing here. Defense and resistance on Parla would have been good if I was actually using her, but anyway, quite a few talks to go through. Now, this first one here, I need to say something about this. Now, here, Jagen talks a bit about Unri's saga, because we're going through Unri's way at the moment. Interestingly, though, this conversation here, this dialogue, though it seems like it, is not actually new. This dialogue, in the original Mystery of the Emblem, it did exist, but in the original Mystery, this dialogue was part of the openings of these chapters. So basically, in fact, this particular one right here was actually at the start of the last chapter in the previous one. Basically, after they, Jagen and Marth talked on about the map, because my unit wasn't even there, Jagen then would go on and recount a part of Unri's tale. And he did that for each of the next 3 chapters. Now, these whole segments of Unri's legend have now been demoted to base conversations, as it were, optional base conversations at that. But it actually kind of makes sense, given that they didn't really have all that much to do with the actual chapters themselves. They were just pretty much taking up space in the openings and basically just wasting time. But not only that, but it makes a lot more sense, I think, now, to have Jagen recount Unri's legend to the new knight, my unit, rather than to Marth himself. Because since Marth himself is a descendant of Unri, it would be pretty stupid to assume that he didn't know the legend himself. So, obviously, they've gone this route thinking, yeah, it makes a lot more sense for him to be explaining it to, again, the newly appointed knight who hasn't really been around Altea's castle for a while and probably doesn't know that much about their mythology, rather than the Prince of Altea, who is a descendant of Unri himself. So, anyway, that's that. And now we have the final support with Ogma. So, apparently, gasp, we've been studying and learning from him. Oh, we can't have that. That's a horrible, horrible crime. Anyway, yeah, Ogma kinda doesn't think very highly of himself. He really doesn't want anyone to learn off him. But, then again, he's pretty awesome in battle, so really, I mean, I think everyone should be learning from him. He's amazing. He's always been amazing in every game he's appeared in, really. So, the same heart, apparently. You should be able to tell who that person is by now. Loyalty or some other feeling? Are they implying something? Yeah, I mean, there are some implications of it, but, he pretty much knows that Sheeta likes Marth, and he doesn't want to interfere with that. Their relationship's strictly professional. So the truly strong are those who fight for their friends. Wonder if that explains why Ike is so broken. Gladiator with the Heart of a Knight. That would actually make quite a good endgame title if they could fit that. Still, anyway, apparently Ogma's getting an uninvited apprentice, but at least he deserves to have apprentices because he's awesome. So we get a skill bond out of that. I haven't started to really use those yet. So, Narval and Mary Sue, right, taking conversation. These ones actually aren't really all that long or very... There's not really much to these ones, just because he tends not to say much. I kind of find his ones with Fina a bit more interesting. But again, they're good for comedy value too. If you played the previous game, you'll know he was also a bodyguard for bandits before. And, strangely enough, you actually never found this out in Shadow Dragon. You don't know... I mean, it was never explained exactly why he was with them. I mean, maybe they were just paying him well. I don't know. He still believes he's no different from bandits. Oh no, maybe they paid well, maybe, yeah. Developers' notes seem to imply that Narval does have a hidden agenda. They've stated that apparently he is searching the world for a certain someone, which is, quote, possibly why he kinda has a thing about about girls in danger. But yeah, who that person is, no one said, but apparently that's what he's doing. So he supposedly does have some ulterior motive as to why he wanders around like this, but and he's also got some ulterior motive for why he doesn't fight women. But yeah, they haven't really revealed anything of that, and so yeah, he still remains a mystery. Yes, I don't know, I mean, you're probably better off knowing then. And now we have, this is a conversation I haven't seen before, because of course I didn't use this guy in my first playthrough. Man, what? How would he assume someone with that name anyway was male? Anyway. But yeah, okay, basically yeah, Elrodin's pretty much typical angsty rival. Why, yes, I am weak and helpless. I don't think she realized what he just said was an insult. Anyway. And he's still pretty much angsty rival. Hopefully she doesn't end up putting him in leather pants. Anyway, right, let's take a look at the map here. Now, this map's actually pretty tricky. Keep an eye... Oh no, the wyverns are back! That temporary peace was just too good to last, wasn't it? Anyway, we've also got fire dragons here. Fire dragons aren't as fun, and oh, who's that? Familiar face. Also sword masters, more sword masters. Okay, anyway, the bandits here have also stepped up their game. They're a bit of a higher caliber than the Sand Clan we called back in the previous chapter. The Sand Clan pretty much sucks. These guys actually have the Fire Clan, they're called. These guys actually have competent weapons, and can actually put up quite a good fight. You might also notice, see that dragon right up there? He's got the Pisces Shard. That is, in fact, the last Star Shard we need. So we'd better get that. Now let's put our treasures in the convoy, while we're at it. Now, one thing about this chapter, there is an awful lot of experience to be had here. There's a huge lot of dragons, they all give massive amounts of experience, and there are also a lot of dragon reinforcements. This is actually pretty bad, but we'll get to that later. But the one thing you should know for the time being is that we need to get as many worm slayers as we can. Yep, remember those worm slayers we fought off the secret shop last time? They're really going to come in handy here. Plus those dragon pikes, we're going to need to break those out about now. Yep, we'll need every dragon slaying weapon we can get our hands on for this one. The fire dragons are a bit tougher defensively than those wyverns were, but they're a bit easier to double, so yeah. Anyway, what I was saying was, there's a lot of experience to be had in this chapter, and hey look, there's Dice and Maris. See what I told you about Maris coming with a really nice inventory? Yeah, I'm going to want to swipe that now. Sorry, Maris. I mean, you're cool and all, but why does he have Virgin? I don't know. Anyway, you might want to make as much use of the Star Shards as you can for the time being, because I'm not going to spoil anything, but you won't actually have them for very long. And we found a killer axe last chapter, we better take that one. Shame we don't have any dragon-slaying axes yet, because Bars could really use one of those. Right, now, his extra stuff, particularly that Blizzard Tome, we might need that. Now, those of you who played the original mystery might be thinking, oh, you should probably bring Blizzard to this chapter. You'll see in a while, yeah, that's actually no longer the case. But anyway, Sheeta needs the extra strength more than he does. Right then. So again, bring anyone who's behind on levels to this chapter. Around this time is probably around the time, well, I generally, by the next chapter after this, I generally have most of my characters promoted, and I did in this playthrough too. There's a lot of experience to be had here. Now, notice Elwyn there, he grew 3 levels in the last chapter alone. He's going to go even higher in this one. So yeah, he really doesn't suffer from joining at a sort of low level, because he catches up pretty quick. And I mean really quick. Yeah, he probably needs that magic +2. Anyway, right, that should be enough in terms of, maybe not. Got any better bows in there? Oh, actually get the speed shard, just to help him double stuff. And Ogma needs a Worm Slayer. Ogma or Sirius, I'm not really sure. Or Marth, actually. Well, Marth needs a Star Shard. Anyway, what can Mary Sue have? May as well give her the other Star Shards. Again, we want to make as much use of these as we can, because they're not going to be around forever. Like, I mean, we only get about, including this one, another 3 chapters to use the Star Sphere Shards, so you might want to make as much use of them as you can. That is, provided you've got all of them. In fact, you actually lose the Star Sphere Shards whether you got them all or whether you haven't, so... Anyway, picking units time. I need to leave someone behind. And, oh right, okay, I need that Worm Slayer back from Jake, plus the Silver and Member cards. There's no secret shop in this chapter, but there is in the next chapter, so we'll need to make sure that one of our characters holds on to those. And those Worm Slayers, we're going to need them. We're really going to need them. One for Sirius. Ogma could use one, but maybe not. He's good enough as he is. And certainly one for Marth. Don't want to use that Master Sword yet, want to save that. And right then, we should be about set. Now you want to bring Shaver and an Archer to this chapter again, because once again, as you can see, Wyverns. They just won't leave us alone, will they? Oh, they'll leave us alone eventually, but Wyverns, bloody Wyverns. And then they come back, and then they... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, Elwyn looks about set. Again, yes, we still want to bring Shaver. The better to brutally kill Wyverns. Okay, right. I want to bring Bars to this one because he wasn't at the last chapter. Now, since there are a lot of reinforcements, he can get a lot of experience here, and what I'm doing is, I'm shifting 3 characters who are a bit under-leveled to the rear. See those forts behind us? Yep, reinforcements. So we're going to want to block those off, to make sure we're not hit from behind. Little did I know just the exact scope of the reinforcements in this chapter. I always thought they'd only come out from those back forts. Oh boy was I wrong. Oh boy was I massively wrong. Now, here's something about Elwyn. Speaking of him, remember back at the start of the playthrough where I said I actually needed the male reclass limits removed for something? This is that something. Yep, because Elwyn is the dark, gothic, angsty one, he of course has to be a dark mage, not a regular mage. Funnily enough, you actually can't reclass anyone who starts off as a normal mage to dark mage without unlocking the male reclass merge. Considering that the Dark Mage is in the power branch of the class tree and Mage is in speed. Funnily though, they both have the same speed cap, I think, as far as I know, and Dark Mage actually specialises in defense rather than power. As you can see, being a Dark Mage cut Elwyn's magic stat by 1, but it increased his defense and resistance. That's the general theme of Dark Mages in this game and in Awakening. They're mages who don't die when a physical enemy looks at them funny. So yeah, I normally don't like reclassing, But Elrond's gonna be a Dark Mage. And you'll see him fight as one in the drill grounds, because he needs a bit more experience. Yeah, Thoron is powerful, but we don't want to waste it. And Blizzard has crap accuracy for some reason. Anyway, right, you'll see a Dark Mage here. It's a little bit, I mean, normally, yeah, I don't use Reclass normally, but I mean, I kind of make an exception to this because Dark Mage is similar to regular Mage, and without reclassing, you actually can't get any Dark Mages apart from Etzel, and Etzel's a pre-promote, so, I mean, he's not a bad pre-promote by any means, and oh, come on. Okay, if he doesn't hit both of these, I'm dead. Oh wait, I'm not quite dead. Sorry, I read the number wrong, that's 13, not 15, I mean, not 18, whatever. Anyway, he's gonna die. So, yeah, I made an exception to my reclass rules just for this, only because I wanted to try it. I mean, Elrond's not the best, but hopefully he'll kind of be, have a bit of uniqueness to himself with, you know, being a Dark Mage now. Yeah, it's still annoying that back in, even in Shadow Dragon, again, like, there was no way you could really have a decent Dark Mage, because apart from Etzel, who kind of sucked in that game, the only way you could have a Dark Mage was to reclass a physical user into a Dark Mage, and again, as you've seen earlier, physical users reclass to magic users. Not a good idea, unless their name is Cecile. I mean, you've seen before, even Mary Sue can't pull that off. But even with the boost to your magic growth, you're still going to have a terrible magic base, and it's going to suck, really. I mean, Cecile is probably the only one who can pull it off, like I said, because she actually has a pretty decent base magic growth that she doesn't really make use of in her starting class. Maris also seems to have a bit of a starting magic growth, so I'll have to look into that too. Maybe she might make a good mage. I don't know. But I don't really, you know, care about reclassing for the most part, because I find it really Fire Emblem. You know, and it just takes away all the uniqueness characters have, and yeah, it's just, I just don't like it. I think I'm tossing out whether to spend more gold or whether to just leave him to finish off that level up in the chapter itself. I think I chose the latter, actually. Right then, time to start the chapter to begin with. And, oh, nice heat haze effect in the background. Now, the theme playing here is called Scorching Otherworld. It's actually a slightly different arrangement of the previous Otherworld theme. Basically, the drum beats are more intense. That's basically it. The organ bit's still the same. Anyway, so this is Flame Barrel, which for some reason was completely untranslated from Japanese. I always thought this was the kind of place name that could use a bit of a localization, because as it stands, it sounds a bit weird. I mean, I don't know, that's just me. Anyway though, then again though, on the plus side, I really like what the translation team did with Zane's dialogue. I think the localization is great, really captures his personality from Shadow Dragon, and yeah, it's just so much better than the original Mystery fan translation. But again, like I said, yeah, I'm a big fan of Zane's dialogue here. So basically, Zane is going to give us a, just to warn you, Zane essentially becomes Mr. Exposition for this point. He's kind of like the Ishizu Ishtar of this game. But, anyway, so he's going to explain to us what happened with the Dragon Tribe, and exactly why they sealed their powers in Dragonstones and became human, well, Manakins. So yeah, this is basically the backstory of the Manakins in this game. There are Manakins in other Fire Emblem universes, and not all of them share this same thing. I certainly know that the Manakins in the Eleb universe, FE6 and 7, they had their own reason for turning human. It was similar, but kind of different. This one was directly brought on by humans. But anyway, that's a different game. So anyway, yeah, basically these fire dragons in front of us have degenerated, like I explained before, and lost their minds. They're all on feral now, they can't go back, and they're basically going insane. Kind of like feral ones, basically. Except it happens to them naturally, as opposed to brought on by a drug. So, whoa, yep, being a dragon is not easy. And that's exactly why, what Tiki has problems with. As you'll see later, the exact reason why, Tiki was constantly guarded in the last game. She is pretty damn powerful, and if she ever degenerated, bad things would happen. Very bad things. Anyway, right, I'm sending 3 of my characters over here to block off these forts, because I knew reinforcements would come from there. If only I knew what other reinforcements were in this chapter. Okay, so let me go on about this chapter. This chapter in particular, okay, firstly, we've got fire dragons. Like I said, fire dragons they're not as fast as wyverns, but they're stronger and have better defense. They also hit you harder. If you get attacked by 2 fire dragons in one turn, you can pretty much kiss your face goodbye. So, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you lure them one at a time. Make sure you don't get hit by 2 of them in one turn, because again, that is not nice. As you can see there, that's about 2/3 of Marth's health in one go. Good thing though, you can double them pretty easily. But, like I said, Marth was living proof there. You don't want to let 2 of these things attack you at once. Unless you get really lucky to dodge. Now, second thing you need to know about fire dragons. Did you see that? You see how Blizzard didn't do all that much? Yeah. Back in the original Mystery of the Emblem, the Blizzard spell was effective against fire dragons in the same way that Shaver is effective against wyverns. This isn't the case anymore, sadly, and it makes fire dragons a little more annoying to deal with. And slight spoilers here, but by extension, ice dragons are no longer weak to fire magic like they were in the original. This means the only dragons who kept their magical weakness were the wyverns, and that's a good thing because they're easily the most annoying of the bunch and they really need a weakness, especially given that you can't double them easily. Fire dragons are a bit easier to double, but again, they hit you pretty damn hard, so you gotta watch out for that. Thoron, though, is still good when you need a burst of extra power. And, see, like I said, dragons, massive experience. They generally give you, like, about almost even up to 70 experience in one go. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger the more of these dragon maps you go through. So, again, you'll probably be getting a lot of characters ready for promotion soon. Now that I've talked about fire dragons, we've got these bloody wyverns here, gotta watch out for that. Now that I've talked about fire dragons, I should probably mention this map's particular gimmick. This map has reinforcements that are triggered not based on turns, but based on passing specific points of the map. There are hidden trigger points hidden all over the map. Once one of your characters passes the points, the trap, so to speak, is sprung, and reinforcements will instantly appear from forts. Now, the trigger points are also connected to forts. Some forts are trigger points, some forts are reinforcement spawn points, and some are both. That first set of forts right ahead of us, that's one of the both varieties, but we'll be seeing that later. For the first part, you'll want to know that once you pass that first string of 3 forts, reinforcements will spawn from the 3 forts behind you. And they spawn the instant you cross that point. Well, the first enemy phase after you cross that point. On normal, it's not too bad, seeing as you can just kill the reinforcements immediately after they've spawned. On hard or above, totally different story. They can move and attack on the turn they arrive. That is nasty, especially considering that most of the reinforcements are dragons. You've seen how hard they hit you. Yep, enemies that can take off about 2/3 of your health in one shot, showing up as reinforcements that can hit you the turn they arrive, that's nasty. And that's part of the reason why this chapter is actually pretty annoying, and I had to restart this quite a few times. It's actually a lot tougher than I expected. In fact, I found it a lot harder than the previous one. Then again, I will admit, the previous chapter on Lunatic, easily harder and possibly a good candidate for the hardest single chapter in the whole series. Up there with Thrakia 776, I just call it the Reinhardt chapter, the one with the blisters that actually hit you, and of course Reinhardt, and chapter, 21 in Sword of Seals? The one with lots of Wyvern Lords. The one with the lots of Wyvern Lords. I hate that chapter. Wyvern Lords? Speaking of which, Wyverns. I hate them. But they do give a lot of experience, as you can see. Wow. Elrond's almost ready to promote. And he was on level 10 2 chapters ago. Yep, see how quickly you get experience from these guys? Unnecessary crit, but Wyverns totally deserve it. Die. Okay, soon we'll be hitting this save point. At that point, that is when we're going to be crossing those forts, and the reinforcements are going to come. And that's where things get tricky. So, very soon, we'll be hitting that save point, and until then, I'll have to say, see you next time. First, we've got to get ready. Yep, things are going to get a lot tougher than this. A lot tougher. This was just the start, believe me. Next part, it's time to party dragon style, and by that I mean reinforcement style.